Hey, welcome my YouTube friends. In this class, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this very cute file folder folio album. So welcome my friends. All right, this is part of my 2026 March Madness project, and I said that I would be teaching you guys how to make this folio. So yes, it's finally here. Okay, so I'll give you a real quick look at this. I will put the link down below to the video that shows all of what I'm doing for my March Madness project, okay? And there's lots and lots inside this. You can purchase the tutorial and you have access to everything that I'm doing for March Madness, okay? I'll put the link down below. All right, so this flips open. And I've decided not to have this here. We're going to glue this down and have a pocket here. I was trying to get rid of some of the bulk, and these are really bulking it up. So this flips open. You have a pocket here. Okay. I won't spend the time tying them back. I can do that later. So this opens up. I'm really wondering if we don't need these here. So this flips. That flips. And then this flips open. And then you have a pocket here, full-size pocket. Okay. Not a full-size pocket, I'm sorry. It's a glued pocket. Okay. So you don't have the full range of that pocket. Because I'm afraid, if you don't hang on to it, it just, so I don't know. I may wind up putting those in. Okay. So then you have a tuck spot here. These flip open. And then you untie this. This here really needs something, to hold that flap down. So this flips open, then that flips, and then that flips open for that. And then that flips open, and you have a full-size pocket here. Okay. Yeah, I'd say we're probably going to at least do these. We'll omit the ones on the end, because otherwise there's nothing that holds that down, and it'll wind up getting bent up, tore up, from flipping through it. Then here, this is just open here, but I use the design paper to create a pocket here. Okay, otherwise you don't have a pocket here. But by attaching the paper on just 3 sides, you form a pocket. And I attach glue about an inch, almost 2 inches, so that way these tags would not go all the way in. Okay. So then this one unties. So it opens up like that. You have a full range pocket here. Yeah, I think we're going to put these in here because I really think we need them. And you can use ribbon, you can use twine, but I think it really needs, I mean, you can even use brads too, but again, sometimes your brads are pretty high profile, and again, it adds bulk. So then you have a little tuck pocket here. These flip open. Then that flips. So that. Here's your pocket here. Very cute paper. I decorated this with the Lavender Fields collection from Simple Stories. And it is gorgeous paper. So then you have this here. And this is, I'm, going to admit that we're just going to glue this down and have a little tuck pocket here, and that will hold this flap down. And then you have oh wait, if we do that, then we lose this pocket. Yeah, because if we glue that down, then you stick your tags in. Well, let's just see. Because if we glue that down, okay, we could still stick our, well, we can't even get it in there. That. See that these would have to go all the way in. Yeah. So maybe we should, we'll figure it out. I mean, you could always just cut that off to where we don't have that. So that's an option too. All right, let's get to work. All right. So you're going to need 10 file folders for this. 5 for the front half and then 5 for the back half. The front half matches the back half, okay? When I'm talking about file folders, this is a bottom tab, and then you have long tab, short tab, or just tab, long tab. Then on the middle one, and I see one of my file folders is a little bit different color. Let me fix that. It's a bottom one. All right. So for a middle tab, it is inset tab right here, and this is the tab part, okay? Of course, natural fold line, okay? So the first piece, we need a top tab folder. And I do have my the back half already cut and scored and everything. So I will be doing the cutting and scoring and everything on the front half, and then I will show you how to put the piece in, okay? So, top tab. We're going to cut this piece down to 10 inches. So where this starts to round, I cut that off. And it's just a hair over 1/4 of an inch. Then I flip it around, and then I cut it down to 10 inches. Okay. And throw that piece away. This piece here, save it because closure. I think we need the closures. Okay. Now you're going to need your scoreboard. Okay. From the natural fold line. Okay, from the natural fold line, we're going to score at 7 inches from the natural fold line. Yeah, I got off. I got off again. Ah. Sometimes it's hard to get that. Okay. These flaps go on the outside. Okay, so you're going to pull. Yeah, mine's going to be a little bit tougher because I have those extra score lines. And both of them fold towards the outside. Okay. And they pretty well should line up. Okay. That's the middle of our folio. Okay. So give them a good burnish. Now is the time, if you're going to round. Let's see. Okay. Well, okay, that is piece A. Well, I'm not liking how this one. I think that'll be okay. That side folded really good. This side did not. Sometimes you just got to finagle with it. Okay. All right, so that is piece A. Long tab is the front side. Okay, so I'm going to put piece A front. And then I'm going to put piece A back. All right. So now, you need another top tab folder. Okay, top tab folder. And I'm just going to cut where it starts to round. Okay, like I said, it's just a hair over 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Now what you're going to do, now we're going to cut the tab. Okay, you want your tab right here. We're going to cut at 3.5 inches. 3.5. Okay. Then I'm going to cut this down to 11 inches. Okay, I'm cutting it down to 11 inches. Piece A, you only need 1. Okay. The rest of these pieces that we're going to be doing, you need 2 pieces of. Okay. And so I'm only going to be doing 1 set with you because I already have the other set all ready to go. Okay. So now you're going to grab your scoreboard and you're going to score 1/2 inch on each end. Okay, 1/2 inch on each end. Okay. We're attaching this on the front side of A with the tab at top. Okay, on the front side with tab at the top. All right, so this is our binding side. Okay, this natural fold is our binding side. So this attaches right here, right along this binding side. Okay, so get my glue out. You're going to apply your glue to both of the 1/2 inch spaces. And you want your tab at the top. You want to make sure that this stays lined up on this binding side. Okay. So this is piece B. Okay, just like that. Now you're going to flip it over to the back side, and you, like I said, you need 2 of these pieces. The rest of these pieces you need 2 of, because the front half matches the back half. Okay, so on the back side, we're attaching our B piece, and we want the tab, and this is, you can either keep it all the same, or you can do it where the tab is opposite. See, I have the tab here, tab down here, tab up here. So I have the tab up here. Now I want the tab down at the bottom. You could do it either or. You can keep it the same. It's totally up to you. Okay, so I'm putting mine down here at the bottom. Okay, this is piece B. Like I said, you need 2 of these pieces. Right along this binding side. Okay. All right. So now we have a pocket here. This is the back side, and this is the front side. So I covered that up, so I'm going to do a front. Okay. Now, with the piece that was left over from piece B is now piece C. Okay. We're going to cut this folder down to 10 inches. I'm going to put my, okay, cut your folder down to 10 inches now. Okay, so I'm not going to cut on this. I'm going to cut the amount off of this long tab. So cut it down to 10 inches. Okay, save that piece. Okay, now you're going to need your scoreboard. We're going to score it 4 inches from the long tab. Okay, 4 inches from the long tab. Okay, so score it 4 inches. Then we're going to score 1/2 inch from this straight edge. Okay, so we scored 1/2 inch and then 4 inches from our long tab. We're going to fold this like an accordion, and we want the tab to be at the bottom. Okay, so tab at the bottom. Okay, and we're folding it like an accordion. So you want your long tab at the bottom. Okay. Now the other piece of C, your tab is at the top. Okay. If you're doing it the opposite way, you can do them all the same. It really doesn't matter. It's your album, your way. But my front half is, my back half is going to be opposite of my front half. Okay. So give this a good burnish. All right. So now we need our piece back. We're going to taper these ends right here. Okay. You're going to taper the ends just up to that score line. Don't go over. Now, this pocket that was formed with piece B, this is going to attach there. Okay, so I'm just going to double check it, make sure she fits, and she fits. And now you're just going up to the score line. Do not go over that score line, okay, because it will create resistance. And this is the binding side of our folio. So you're going to apply glue to both sides of this 1/2 inch space. And normally I ink all my file folders, but right now I'm not really able to be, I've done too much ink and it's messing with my shoulder. So that's why I'm not inking. Otherwise I would be inking. Because you can see it so much better, you know, when you ink. But I'm not inking. Okay, just up to that score line. Okay. And fold it over. Give her a good burnish. I might have been just a hair over right there. All right. So that is piece C. Okay, piece C. So a flip, and a flip, and a flip. There's piece B. Okay, let's do the back side now. Okay. So my tab is at top on the front. On the back, my tab is at the bottom. Okay, let's see if this fits. And it does. So I'm going to glue. So even though I'm just cutting one with you and scoring, you'll need 2. I just thought maybe, you know, make the wouldn't be such a long video, and you know, instead of being part 1, part 2, part 3, we just got one part. That way it just makes it easier for you guys. Okay, so I just attach it inside that pocket just up to that score line. Attach her down. Give her a good burnish. All right, there we go. So that's piece C. That's our back side. Okay, piece D. Trying to get my pen back in my glue. Okay, piece D. Piece D is a bottom tab. Okay, we're going to cut right on the natural fold line of this folder. Okay, right on the natural fold line. It's a bottom tab. So right on that natural fold line. Okay. Then tab piece. Okay, the tab piece. We're going to cut from the tab at 9 1/4. Okay, 9 1/4. Okay, throw that piece away. Now we're cutting this down to 10 inches. So again, where that starts to round, I'm going to cut that off and then take the rest of it from the other end. Cut this to 10 inches. Okay. Now, you're going to need your scoreboard out again. And we're going to score. We want the tab to be at the bottom. So, yeah, tab at the bottom. We're going to score at 1/2 inch. Five eighths, 3/4, and 7 3/4. Yeah. Okay, so 1/2 inch, 5 eighths, 3/4, and 7 3/4. Okay. Now we're going to fold on our score lines. Okay. I fold on my first and my last. When we got 1/8 inch in there like that, I fold on the 2 score lines, the first and the last, and then I pinch that middle one up. And it should just kind of pinch right up. Okay. I just pinch it up. Then when I got it, okay, taking it back down to my 1/2 inch. I'm going to taper just up to that score line, just to the score line. Do not go past that score line. All right, now this flap here goes to the inside. Okay, goes to the inside. All right. This piece here we're attaching right on top of piece C. Okay, this is my back. I'm just going to make a little B for back so I know. This is my front side. Okay, here's piece C that we attached. Okay, we're attaching this to the front side. Okay, here's piece C. Here's your long tab. You're going to open that up. This piece is going to attach I just want to make sure here. Yes. Okay, so I'm attaching just the 1/2 inch right on top, and you want to stay lined up on this side because this is your binding side. All right, so I'm just going to glue Jeez Louise. So I'm just going to apply my glue to one side of the 1/2 inch. Okay. It's right along that edge. Make sure your file is okay. All right. So I went right there. So piece D, I'm just going to put front. Okay, piece D. Now for the back side, piece D. Oops, that's piece G. All right, there's my piece E. Okay, so I got the tab at the bottom. Okay, so on the back side, I got my tab on the bottom too. So I'm just gonna switch it around. Okay, so I'm just gonna rescore on these. So I want my tab to be at top. Easy fix. Okay, and oops. All right. So get my 1/2 inch. Sorry, my cell phone is going off. Now I have my tab at the top. So I'm going to open up piece C, and it's going to go right along this edge. Okay. So I'm going to apply glue just to my 1/2 inch. Just make sure you're lined up. All right. There's piece D. Okay. I'm just going to put back. All right. That gives us a nice gusset. So I'm just going to kind of fold on that very last score line to get that gusset line, get that gusset activated. There. Okay. Piece E is our leftover piece. Okay, our leftover piece from piece D. We're going to cut this folder down to 8.5 inches. Okay, 8.5 inches. Okay, throw that away. Now we're cutting it down to 11 inches. So I'm just where that starts to round. Well, yeah, because 11 inches, just a hair over 1/4 of an inch from both sides. So really, it doesn't make any difference. Cutting it down to 11 inches. Okay, now you're going to need your scoreboard. Okay. We're going to score on the 11-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay. 1/2 inch on each end. And then 6.5 inches from the long tab. Okay, 6.5 inches from the long tab. Okay, 6.5 inches from the long tab. And now we want to take the flap is going to be on top. Okay. Long tab at bottom. Okay, so I'm going to fold on my 1/2 inch score lines. Okay. And what I'm going to do, we want to cut off this 1/2 inch on this 2-inch space right here. We want to cut these off. So I'm just going to taper just a hair. Okay, I'm just tapering just a hair to that 1/2 inch, to that 2-inch, that score line that we done at 6.5. Then I'm just going to fold my 1/2 inch in here, and I'm going to cut this. Cutting this off. We don't want that 1/2 inch on here. Okay. So now I'm going to fold this to where our flap is on top. Okay. Alright, so we got our 1/2 inches turned under on this piece right here. Then this piece is just right on top. If you have anything sticking over, now's the time to cut it off. And I have just a hair. Alright, there we go. Okay, want the long tab at bottom, our flap on top. This is going to attach to D. This is piece E. Okay, and all we're attaching is the 2.5 inches. We're not going to glue this shut yet. Okay, because we'll be adding another piece to that. Okay, and you're just applying it right up to the score line right here. Okay, just up to that. Do not go over, because that is a gusset. I want it to be easier just to lay it out flat. And I'm going to put D right here. I'm just checking it to see. I'm good. Okay, so you're just gluing the 2 1/2-inch spaces. We're not closing up the pocket yet. We will close it up a few pieces down the road. Okay. Just up to that score line. Do not go over that score line. Give her a good burnish. I'm going to put front. We'll do a flip through when we get it all done. Okay, same thing on the back side. Piece D. I'm going to go ahead and open it like that. Piece E. Okay. And do I have it? I probably have it upside down. Okay, E front. Yeah, I have my tab at bottom. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. This is my piece D right here at bottom, and I want it to be on top. So I got to switch. Somehow, I got turned around when I cut these. So if you find it simpler just to do all, because my other one over here that I showed you, the one that's decorated, they're all the same way. But I wanted to do this one like it, because this is the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so now I'm going to attach this, tab at top, flap on top. Okay, right along that score line. So I'm going to open this up and attach it right along my score line. Yeah, if I was inking this, you would be able to see more, better where I'm placing these pieces. But if you have any questions, you can always ask me. Okay, and there is no dumb question, because if you're thinking it, I can guarantee you somebody else is thinking it too. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. Because sometimes, I forget, might forget just a little tiny step that makes a big difference. Okay. All right, this is piece E back. We're coming right along. I'm just going to put this. This is D back, which is this piece here. All right. I mean, I do have one, just the front part. Like here's piece A, there's piece B, Here's piece C. See how much difference it looks being inked? There's our piece D that we added right along the spine that has the gusset. And here's piece E that we just attached, okay, with the flap. Now we're going to attach a flap on the front side of it, okay. All right, so now piece F is a bottom tab folder. Bottom tab. We're going to cut this down to 10 inches. So I'm going to do it on the tab side, okay, right where that starts to round. Then flip it over and then cut down to my 10 inches. Okay. And the reason I do that, that way we don't hardly lose any of this tab here. We lose more of the long tab than we do the short tab, or the other tab. Okay. That's why I do that. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to score at 4 inches from each tab. Okay, we're scoring at 4 inches from each tab. 4 inches from each tab. Okay. We want the long tab to be in front. And at top. Okay, long tab on front and at top. Okay, so when I'm folding, I make sure I'm lined up. If you have to make a new score line, so be it. We're folding like an accordion, so this one's going to fold back. Okay, that one folded back. Let's see. Do I want to round those? I know I'll round the front part. Okay. So now I'm going to grab this flap right here. And I bet I have got it. Fold like an accordion with a long tab on the front side and at top. Okay, so what we're going to, that's the back side. Front side, and see my tab is at bottom. Let's see with my piece, my other piece. See, it's the same thing. So I'm going to switch this one around. Okay. Because we want our tab, wait a minute. Our tab part is what's going to attach to our 2-inch piece. Okay. And we want this long tab to be at top. So I'm just going to fold her the opposite way. Yeah, I have to fold, you have to go opposite on that natural fold line to get it, there we go, to get it to work. Okay, you have to fold opposite on that natural fold line. Now I have my tab at top, my tab's at bottom on my back side. So you just have to fold different on that natural fold line. All right, fold it like an accordion. Okay, you want your long tab on top. So now we're just going to attach this right on top of this 2-inch space. Okay, you do not want to go over, okay, where this fold is. on this flap, you're going to line that right up with that fold. Okay, right up with that fold. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this 2-inch flap. That's what I'm going to glue. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Long tab on front for gluing the tab down. Okay. So right along that fold of that flap. Okay. Okay. So if something's sticking over, just cut it off. So now we have a pocket on the back side. Okay. I got just a hair sticking over. I'm going to cut that off. All right. This is piece F. Okay. Let's do the back side. So again, long tab. You're gluing. Okay. So see, now this piece is backwards. So I'm just going to fold on that natural fold line. I'm folding the other way on it. This folder here is a little bit different color too. I hadn't noticed that. It is. It's a little bit different. So now my tab is at the bottom. So hopefully this ain't confusing you. But like I said, you could do it all the same. You know, it all comes out in the wash the same. So we're going to attach this right along this 2-inch piece here. We've only got two more pieces left. Okay. So I'm going to attach it right along that fold. Oh, shoot. Got off. Okay, I'm just checking it. Yeah, this side's sticking over just a little bit, so I'm going to trim this off. Alright. Yeah, that folder is a little bit different color. Okay, this is back. Okay. So now we have that so far. Now, piece G. This is our last folder. Okay, so we're going to cut this on the natural fold line. Okay, cutting this on the natural fold line. Okay, this is piece G. Now we're cutting this down to 10 inches. Okay, so what I do, you measure your folder out, whatever it is, and then find your halfway point, which mine is 5 7/8, and then I just 5 inches on one way, 5 inches the other way. Okay, so you're just finding your half point. Okay, first let's cut this down. Well, it doesn't matter. Cutting this down to 10 inches. Okay. Now we're going to put this in our scoreboard. I got a little bit of a lip, from that natural fold line. I am just going to ever so slightly trim that off. I don't want that on there. All right. So I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8. Okay. And then I'm scoring at 8. Okay, scoring at 8. Let's go ahead and do our other piece while we got everything out here. Piece H. We're going to cut it down to 11 inches. Okay, so I know it's just like a hair over 1/4 inch. All right, now this piece, we're going to score 1/2 inch. Yep, that's okay. 1/2 inch on each end. Okay. And then we're going to score 4 3/4 from the tab. Okay, 4 3/4 from the tab. All right. Now you're going to fold on your score lines. We want this tab here to go underneath. Yeah, if you cut that off, this helps, kind of keep the cover a little bit sturdy. Okay, so, you can choose to cut it off. It's totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine. Okay, So now I'm going to fold on my first and my last score line. And then I just choose whichever one pinches up first. I just work with it. Just keep pinching. And I pinch up my next one. Okay. Now I'm going to fold that back to where I just have my 1/2 inch. I'm going to taper. Okay, I'm just tapering up to that very first score line. Okay. Now, this piece is going to attach. That piece E, okay, is a pocket. Okay. I'm going to glue just a little bit. That very end didn't get glued very good. Okay. Piece E, we have this pocket here that didn't get closed up. Okay. So this is going to attach right inside that piece E. And you're just going to attach it just up to that score line. Okay. Piece E, because we didn't close up that pocket, we just glued the top and the bottom. Okay. My piece fits, so I'm going to apply glue to both sides. Okay, so I'm going to attach it inside that pocket, just up to that score line. Stick her down. All right, now unclose that, and we're going to do the same thing on the back side. We have that open right there. Okay, piece E. Okay, here's my piece G. Make sure it fits. All right. Okay, and just stick it inside that pocket, just up to that score line. Stick her down. All right, so now piece H, Okay, piece H. We want to get rid of, again, that 1/2 inch. This is a flap. This space here is a flap. This part here we are gluing down. So I'm going to fold on my 1/2 inch. Sorry, my phone's going off again. Okay. Now I'm just going to taper just up to the 1/2 inch and to the score line. I'm going to fold that under, and then I'm going to cut this off. Okay, same thing here. I'm just going to taper. Okay. Might be easier. The flap goes on top. Okay, so I'm going to fold over my 1/2 inch and then fold this over. Why do oh, I cut it down to 8.5. So I need to change that. All right, I need to change that on the guide because we cut this down to 8.5. So you're going to cut this piece down to 8.5. Okay, 8.5. For the second while I make a little notation. 8.5. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to fold those under. I'm going to fold this, and then I'll just trim. Okay. I'm trimming off the 1/2 inch on the flap, not. Okay. There we go. You want the 1/2 inch on the tab part. The flip, you don't want any of the 1/2 inches. Okay. So now we're going to glue this down in our album. Yeah, I wish we would have done this before. Yeah. I'm going to use this. Will that help? Yeah, that does help. So just up to the score line. Do not go over that score line, okay? Because it will cause resistance. So even like 1/8 of an inch away from that score line. Okay. And if you want to, you can go ahead and attach your glue down here at the bottom. Because we're closing this pocket all the way up. Okay. So right along. Yeah, it would have been much easier to attach it before we attached the cover on. I didn't even think about that. That's what we should have done. Okay, same thing. We're just attaching piece H right along. Okay, so you're attaching your glue on the 1/2 inch. And then right along the bottom. All right. So, shall we do as we do the flip through, I'll show you where you need to put your closures. Okay. So now we have, this is a good time to kind of reiterate your gussets. Okay. Make sure that they're all nice and engaged. So you should now, because I did increase the gussets from my original one. Okay. I did do that for you because it got pretty chunky. All right. So just with my pencil, I know I need a closure here to here. Okay, closure there because you have a flip and you have a pocket. So you need a closure there. Now on this one here, we're going to put the closure. Okay, this is piece F. Okay, piece F. The closure, I think I've done my closures at, let me get the pin in my glue here. Two and 3/4 from the bottom. Okay, so 2 3/4. So from 2 3/4, so my closure would go here. And then on the front side of piece E. Okay, front side of piece E. So I'd measure up 2 3/4, make a little tick mark, and my closure is going to go right here. So that would close here. Okay, so here's piece F. That flips. Here is our pocket. Okay, piece F. Here's piece E. So then that, and then you have a pocket here. So then all that would be closed up. Okay, so then you would flip. This is the back side of D. This is where you're going to put those photo mats. And the photo mats are optional. It's totally up to you. Okay. They are, you need 2 of them at 5 1/4. 5 1/4 by 4 1/4. You need 2 of those. Okay. Then you need 2 more, that is 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. And then all you're going to do is you're going to score 1/2 inch on the longer side. So 5 1/4, we're going to score at 4 3/4, or half, 1/2 inch. So on the longer side, we're scoring at 1/2 inch. Okay. Then you're just going to fold and burnish. I did round mine. Okay. The littler one will go with the tab. The bigger one I think this one here is my littler one. Bigger one up. Littler one goes with your tab. Okay, my tab. You're going to attach those about 1/8 of an inch away from the fold line. Okay. It's on the back side of D. Okay, on the back side of D. And I'm going about 1/2 inch from the bottom. So then you'll do the same thing on the other piece of D. And I'm going to go about 1/2 inch from, there we go. So then this here, you apply your paper first, then glue this down. Then that way you have a pocket here that keeps those flaps all nice and neat. Okay, they won't go nowhere. Okay, so decorate it with paper first, then glue each end down, and then that way you have a little tuck spot. Okay, so here's piece C. These are going to create needs a closure. So 2 3/4. You're going to make a little tick mark. You're going to attach it right here. And then 2 3/4 here, and attach it here. Okay, so this keeps this part all nice and neat. Okay, so see, you have this, you have a pocket here. Okay, so this flips out, flips, and that has a pocket. And then you'd have your closures here to keep this all nice and tidy. Okay, so then this flips to the middle section. Okay, so this would be all nice and neat. And you may have to burnish this. I'm getting just a little bit of a resistance. But that's okay. This is where I cut my paper, done my paper, and then that way I had a pocket in this middle section. Okay, this is the very middle. This is piece A. Okay, so then again, you're going to do your closures here and here. Okay, this is your C. Okay. So you're going to put your closures there. And this is if you want closures. I would highly recommend some type of closures, because otherwise things are going to get kind of bent up if you don't. Okay, here is where backside of D, this is where these go. So again, the littler one goes with the tab, and the bigger one goes where the no tab is. Okay, and then you glue here and here for a tuck pocket. Okay, so here's piece E. This would all be, this here would all be oh yeah, piece F. Yeah, piece F. Okay, so piece F, you're going to need a closure. And here's piece E. We might, on our front, we went, because our tab was at top, you know, we stayed at the bottom. So on this one, I may put the tab, because this right here is going to interfere. So on this one, I'm going to go 2 3/4 from the top and put my closures. Yes, from the top. Okay. And then of course your closure here and your closure here, because this is the back side of the folio. So if we go top here, here's our piece D and our pockets. Here's this. We went bottom here. Our tab was on top. Yep. So the back side is just opposite. So I'm going to go from the top and do my closures. So the back half is going to be from the top. The front half is going to be from the bottom. Okay. So you can use these pieces here. Okay. Okay, just like this. And these pieces are 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches. Now I did use a punch like this to where it's the same on the both ends. Okay, it's a Stampin' Up punch. Okay, it's the same on all fours. Okay, so you can use that instead of, you know, plain Jane with these. So you would cut these at 2 inches. Okay, so you cut these at 2 inches. And then you're going to score these at 1/2 inch. Okay. Or you can use a decorative punch like this one. And then what you do is cut. I just punch a hole. And then I put these on both sides. So then I just kind of estimate where my middle is. Okay, put these on both sides because they flip open. So you want these on both sides. These are just hole reinforcements. Buy them at Walmart, and then I just distress them with my distress ink. So then that 1/2 inch, you're just going to glue it. Find your, do your mark. So 2 3/4. Get your little tick mark there. Then you're just going to put that right along the edge, glue it. Okay. Do the same thing over here. Just want to stick kind of an 1/8 of an inch away from your gusset. Okay. 1/8 of an inch from your gusset. Okay. Or you can use a decorative punch like that, which I think makes it look pretty nifty. All right. So that's how you do your closures. Then you just tie your twine, on here, and then tie your twine on the other side, and then you have your, like that. Okay. All right. Now I decided not to do this closure here over the whole album because I didn't want to restrict it, because if it gets to kind of being a chunky monkey, I didn't want this cover restricting it. So when you make your cover, or do your cover, what you might put ribbon on the back and the front, okay, and then just have a ribbon closure. All right. So yeah, you may have to kind of mess around with your gussets to get them all engaged right. Okay. Just kind of fold it one way, fold it the other way, kind of get them all kind of engaged. Yeah, I can see that different file folder. But there's the folio, guys. You could even put, a chipboard cover on this if you really wanted to. Make a chipboard cover on your front and back, and then run fabric over the end if you want, give it just a little bit better. But once you add paper to it, I mean, it's not as strong as a chipboard album would be, but it's still, pretty nice. All right, so that is the end of this tutorial. So you'll just decorate it up and get your closures on there. I may try and decorate this one. I don't know. I know it won't be anytime soon. I might find a paper collection here pretty soon, and then decorate it. Okay. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on any of my tutorials. And yeah, this is it. So I appreciate you hanging out with me. Remember, if you have any questions, please ask me. And yeah, we'll be seeing you guys in the next class. All right. As always, keep scrapping. Bye-bye.